$3,000 a week growing and selling microgreens sounds pretty awesome, right? Well, here's how you can actually do that. Hi, I'm Donny Greens and I've been growing microgreens commercially for over 6 years now. And at the peak of my business, before I had to shut it down and rebuild the new farm, I was doing over $3,000 a week growing and selling microgreens. I know this sounds crazy, but it's totally achievable. And if you follow the steps below in this video, you're gonna learn exactly how to do this too. And by the way, that farm that I just reopened from the basement of my house is already doing $1,000 a week in its first month, and will be doing over $3,000 again per week in no time, which is gonna pay the mortgage, the property taxes, and then some. First, you have to plan your business. I would start growing microgreens right away so you can learn how to grow them, but as you're doing that, plan your business. Figure out what all the numbers are behind these microgreens, your costs, your revenue, your profit. I wouldn't go as far as making one of those really dry, old business plans. I don't like those. But knowing your numbers is very important, and also having a mission and a purpose behind your business is also very important. This is gonna help drive your business forward when times get tough, and it's also gonna inform your story that you tell and give your customers a reason to be buying your crops outside of just the wonderfulness that microgreens have to offer. And knowing your target market is especially important, right? Who are you going to be selling these microgreens to? What's the value of the greens to them? And where are you going to be finding them? For instance, when I first started my business, I was told to sell to chefs. I realized very quickly I did not want to work with chefs. And at the same time I was starting this business, I was also learning about the health benefits of sprouts, microgreens, and wheatgrass, the living foods. So I figured the value of these crops was really in the health benefits. Yes, a garnish on the plate is pretty and delicious and it's really cool for chefs, but I figured, hey, everybody's health is in shambles. The real value of these crops are going to be in the health benefits. So what I did is I created a weekly home delivery subscription model, and actually I kind of pioneered this model for the industry. When I discovered the microgreens thing, this microgreens business, I was, watching YouTube videos online, and all of a sudden they started coming out. You can start a business growing microgreens. I just knew in my heart that it was for me, and I was destined to make it happen. Nothing was gonna get in my way. And if you feel the same way, then it's time to start growing. And what's great is you have even more resources now than I did back 6 years ago. Next, you're gonna choose your crops. Choose crops in the beginning that are a little bit easier to grow, so you can, you're still learning how to grow at that point. But be sure to choose crops that are in high demand that people actually want. I started with 4 varieties that are probably the most popular: radish, pea, sunflower, and broccoli. Now, some crops take more work than others, but if you want to learn more about the individual varieties and what it takes to grow these crops, I actually just made a video on this that you can check out up there. Once you've chosen the crops that you're going to be growing, you got to set up your grow space and start growing, right? Luckily, you can grow microgreens in a very small space. Think about a spare bedroom, your garage, a corner of your parents' basement like I did. And in addition to the supplies and equipment that you're going to need, by the way, I have a video on that as well. You can check it out up there. What's very important is that you can control the climate where you're growing. Very important. Now, my setup is very simple. Black racks, everything is lean, consistent, black racks, black trays, 1 light per shelf. Really simple, cheap, and everything looks very neat, clean, and congruent. You want to have as many controls as possible in the beginning. You don't want a lot of variables, so put your attention into dialing in that climate control so your climate is going to be on point, and making sure that you buy the right materials. That way they'll last you for years to come. Speaking of materials, you're gonna have to source your supplies, right? Where are you gonna be getting all this stuff? You're gonna wanna be purchasing high quality seeds, trays, lights, growing mediums, and you should even consider buying in bulk as your business grows. That way you can save a little bit of money. All of my favorite seeds, supplies, equipment, and where I buy that from can be found right below in the description, so you can just click on those links and see exactly what I'm using and where I'm buying them from. So feel free to check that out down below in the description. Having low quality supplies is going to lead to a lower quality crop and a harder time growing, which is never what you want. So make sure to get the good stuff. Next, you're going to want to start growing. You can follow the details outlined in my last video, where I teach you the whole process of growing microgreens, but overall just make sure to be consistent. Be consistent with your inputs, and be sure to be learning from the best teachers, because the wrong information can lead you down a dark path of some pretty crappy microgreens, problems in the farm, and a whole slew of different problems. So make sure you're getting the right information from the good educators and also being consistent with all of your inputs. You want as many controls as possible rather than variables. That way you can experiment by tweaking them one at a time and actually knowing what the results are. If you can actually try and solve the problems that you're experiencing, you're going to be able to improve much faster and have a much better time and a better experience growing your microgreens. Now remember, getting started takes action, so get out there and plant some freaking seeds. Once your crops are ready, you've grown them out to full maturity and you're ready for harvesting, you're gonna harvest them and package them. Once they've reached the appropriate size where you like to harvest them, you're gonna put them into that nice clamshell container and slap your label on there. Once you have an actual product, you're off to the races and you can start sharing that product with other potential customers. Make sure you understand once you start getting customers what their needs are and what it's going to require from you to be able to grow and fulfill their demands. Be sure to stay organized. Make sure that your customers are getting those microgreens consistently every week. This way they're seeing the results and they're actually getting the benefits of eating these crops on a consistent basis. And you're also getting a consistent business model going where you're getting consistent revenue each week. Next, you're going to market and sell. You got to be growing your business, right? So sell them to chefs in restaurants, bring them into health food stores, bring them to farmers markets and sell them there. There's so many different ways and places that you can sell these microgreens, and getting creative with your business model is an awesome idea. Also, be sure to price your microgreens competitively, but at a premium to reflect their true value. Farmers markets are a stellar way to market your business locally, and social media can really take your business to the next level. Possibilities are endless because everybody eats food, and these microgreens are simply the best, highest quality choice of food that you could really put into your body. But remember, you could have the best, highest quality products in the world, and if nobody knows about it, you're not gonna be able to get sales. So you need to learn some marketing and learn how to get out there and sell your product. It's gonna be one of the first and most important skills that you learn as a microgreens farmer and entrepreneur, and really just one of the many hats that you're gonna have to learn. Now, I've given you some good information so far, but I really wanna dial in and hone in on my specific business model, which I believe really helped me to become successful very quickly. All right, so if you weren't paying attention so far, now's the time to really tune in and pay attention because I'm about to give you my secret sauce. The goal of my company was really to make it as easy and seamless as possible for my local community to get their hands on these high quality, nutritious microgreens and get them into their diet consistently. That was my goal, that was my mission. So what I did, this is really the business model that I pioneered for this industry, was that I created a weekly home delivery subscription model. I met a lot of these people from the farmers markets in the beginning and then converted them into home delivery subscription customers where I would deliver to their house every single week. They tell me what they want me to grow for them every week. I'm gonna be growing it on a cycle and then bringing it right to their doorstep. I have software that automates my deliveries. It sends them text messages the night before reminding them to leave a cooler. It sends a text message in real time when the product is delivered. They're billing, right? Charging their credit cards. It was done automatically every single time we made that delivery. So everything is very automated, seamless, and it resulted in an efficient business model and happy customers who didn't even have to think. They just knew that the product was coming again the next week. Now, as I grew my delivery route, I noticed that as I got to about $1,000, it was a very long harvest and my fridge was just about full. So every time my delivery route would get to $1,000, I would split it into 2 routes. Now, when I did that, each route became more efficient because I could split them up and do like a North Shore route and a South Shore route, right? I kept everybody closer together. And then now that I had 2 split routes, I would just grow those back up to 1,000 again. And every time I would reach $1,000, I would split them in half and just keep on making new routes that were more efficient that I could then grow from there. That led me to having 4 routes at my peak where I was doing different locations on different days, remaining very efficient and getting these products to people all over Long Island without them even really having to think about it. Now look, that 3,000 number that's in the title of this video and that we've been talking about, it's really what you're here to know. That $3,000 really equates to only 100 customers on a weekly subscription. And that's assuming that the average weekly order is around $30, which actually mine was even higher at about $35 or $40. So with 100 customers in your weekly delivery route, you're at that $3,000 a month mark. Now it's important to note that making $3,000 a week growing and selling microgreens, it's gonna take you a lot of work, time, and effort to get you to that point. You have to put in the work first, and then eventually over time, it'll grow to that place. But you need to dedicate several hours a week to planting and growing the crops, watering, harvesting, packing, delivering. There's a lot of different hats to wear. There's a lot of different responsibilities that have to take place. And it's important for you to know that while $3,000 a week is super attainable for this business, it also really will require a ton of work and dedication from you. Now, if you're like I was 6 years ago and you're super pumped about this business and you're just super pumped to start growing, but maybe you haven't started yet, I highly recommend checking out the One Tray Away Challenge at onetrayaway.com. I'll also link it down below in the description. And this is where I basically turn you into a master grower over 10 days where I hold your hand through the process day by day and tell you everything I've learned over the past 6 years, which will result in you really fast tracking yourself to becoming a much better grower. Now, growing is the most important skill to learn when you're first starting your business, and you should actually be learning this before you even start your business. So if you're interested in growing microgreens, maybe even interested in running this as a business, but you haven't started growing, you gotta go over to onetrayaway.com and get into that challenge. I'll see you there.